Genoa, autumn of 1347. 3 days a widow, and Caterina Morosini has already buried two things: her husband and every expectation the city holds for her. She dismisses the notary with a courtesy so precise it leaves no opening for argument. The door closes. The bolt slides home. In the silence of the counting room, smelling of beeswax and old pepper, she kneels on cold stone and pries back the floorboard herself. The hidden ledger is smaller than she imagined. Bound in Moroccan calfskin, its pages dense with ciphered numerals and names scattered from the Black Sea to the Nile. She reads slowly, then faster. The debts are half what she feared. The assets are twice what anyone knew. A lesser woman might weep with relief. Caterina Morosini reaches for a fresh quill. Somewhere beyond the harbor wall, a fleet of stricken ships is already turning toward home. October 1347. The harbor of Genoa breathes salt and rot. Caterina Morosini moves through the Molo like a shadow among shadows, her mourning veil a convenient disguise in a city of averted eyes. Around her, sailors cluster in tight, frightened knots, men who have crossed the Pontus Euxinus, who have watched their crewmates blacken and swell and die screaming before the Ligurian coast ever rose from the horizon. She does not need to hear their words clearly. She reads it in their hands. The frantic gestures, the touch of fingers to armpits to throat. She smells it before she sees it. Something beneath the brine, something ancient and final. Where other merchants see delayed cargo, Caterina Morosini sees the end of an entire economic world. And somewhere within that catastrophe, she already senses the terrifying outline of an opportunity. The counting house smells of beeswax and old ambition. Ottaviano Grimaldi spreads his offer across the table like a man laying flowers on a grave, generous in gesture, lethal in the fine script of its margins. He is a patient predator, this banker, accustomed to widows who weep and sigh. But Caterina Morosini does neither. She lifts his wine. Cypriot, expensive, a calculated courtesy, and lets the silence between them thicken like cooling tallow. Her eyes move across the parchment with the calm precision of a woman who has read 1,000 contracts in shadow, while men read them aloud in light. She smiles. She concedes nothing. Every word she does not speak is a door she does not open. Grimaldi believes he is hunting. He has not yet understood that he is already inside her trap. The bells of San Lorenzo toll without ceasing. Below Caterina's loggia, the streets of Genoa are transforming into something ancient and terrible. Cartwheels grinding over cobblestone, the reek of juniper smoke failing to mask what lies beneath shrouds of rough linen. Within a fortnight of the Caffa ship's arrival, the lower parishes are already bleeding people. She watches a neighbor board his windows shut with trembling hands. She watches a priest refuse a doorway. The city is eating itself alive, and every hour of paralysis costs her what little leverage remains. Caterina turns from the loggia railing. She does not weep, or if she does, it is brief, private, the grief of a woman who has already learned that mourning is a luxury purchased only after survival. She reaches for her husband's ledger. The real work begins now. Within the cloistered silence of Santa Maria della Vigne, where beeswax candles burn against the creeping damp and the smell of dried lavender mingles with old stone, two women conduct a transaction that no notary will ever record. Caterina lays the contracts upon the abbess's reading table. Vellum sheets dense with ink, each one worth more than a merchant fleet. Abbess Margherita does not flinch. She has sheltered secrets before. The vault beneath the chapel floor swallows the documents whole, sealed behind iron older than memory. In exchange, a quiet arrangement, silver enough to fill the convent's granary through the bitter months ahead. No seals are pressed. No witnesses stand present. Only two pairs of steady hands, clasped briefly in the candlelight. Outside these walls, plague and panic are already reshaping the city, and Caterina's most dangerous rival has begun asking questions she cannot yet afford to answer. The tallow candle gutters low as Caterina breaks the wax. She has done this 1,000 times. Watched her husband press his seal into warm amber, watched authority harden in seconds. Now her own hand holds the iron, trembling not from fear but from the weight of calculation. The smell of scorched wax mingles with camphor and vinegar, the city's desperate perfume against the pestilence gathering at its gates. She sets the date back 19 days. A small lie, a surgical lie. In the counting houses of Genoa, truth has always been a negotiable instrument. She knows this better than any man who ever dismissed her from a room. The forgery is perfect. The courts will close within a week. Grimaldi will find nothing to contest. But perfection, Caterina will soon discover, has a price she has not yet entered in any ledger. September 1348. The counting houses of Genoa smell of camphor and grief. Grimaldi's ledgers, once the envy of every merchant from Pisa to Trebizond, now record only absence. Names crossed through in red, debts dissolved into unmarked graves. His liquidity has hemorrhaged away with his debtors, one parish at a time. Into this ruin, Caterina Morosini arrives not with soldiers, but with ink and parchment, a notary at her side, a backdated letter folded precisely against her palm. She registers her contracts before the city's last functioning magistrate, with the calm efficiency of a surgeon. Grimaldi cannot challenge what the law has already consumed. His empire does not fall dramatically. It simply stops breathing. But the contracts, now legally hers, carry names and routes extending far beyond Genoa's quarantined walls, and someone, somewhere, is already coming to reclaim them. The counting house smells of tallow smoke and absence. 4 chairs stand empty around the long oak table, where Caterina Morosini once commanded a small empire of ledgers and loyalty. Outside, Genoa's bells toll without ceasing, a sound that has lost all meaning through repetition. She breaks the wax seal on the letter from Caffa with hands that no longer tremble. The Eastern network lives. The contracts are safe. She has won. The parchment rests against her chest, but there is no one left in this house to tell. Ink-stained fingers trace the names of the dead in the household accounts, each crossed entry a grave she cannot visit. Survival, she is learning, carries its own particular weight. Yet somewhere beyond the pestilent harbor, a new correspondence is already moving westward, carrying news that will demand everything she has left. 5 years have passed since the ships of death entered the harbor. Genoa breathes again. Unevenly, incompletely, but it breathes. In a counting house off the Via San Lorenzo, candlelight catches the edge of a fresh vellum page, still pale and unmarked, smelling faintly of chalk and rendered fat. Caterina Morosini dips her quill. Around her, 2 young women bend over figures, scratching ink into practice slates. Heirs to a knowledge that no guild will sanction and no law will yet acknowledge. Across the Mediterranean, letters bearing her cipher are already in motion, sliding through Alexandria's spice markets, crossing the wool halls of Bruges. She writes the first entry. Her name. Not her husband's. Hers. The ledger is open. and what she builds next will outlast every man who tried to close it.